I was told that you quit your job at the church.
You are 100% correct. I walked in one Thursday and walked out that same Thursday. I'm actually I'm in a U-Haul right now, driving back down to Florida because I accepted a position at a church there.
Ah,
And what position?
Youth and worship. My wife is the worship pastor. I'm the youth pastor.
as a pastor, what would your recommendation be to John Lee?
My recommendation in something along those lines, like I said, from a moral standpoint, I don't like it.
Wow, man! If this were a test question and like your other
Yeah,
like colleagues like and reverends were sitting there, I would have like zero faith in you. This is a gimme question, bro.
no, it's not. It's nuanced.
Why is it always nuanced when it's a Christian who has this dilemma, but if it's an atheist who's living in sin, it's not nuanced at all?
Because an atheist
sin is not nuanced.
No. So here's the thing: an atheist is already technically living in sin by being an atheist, right? So I don't really care what an atheist does.
Yeah, but I could make my commitment to my spouse and have us be one flesh and say everything's fine.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, no, it's not. But for a Christian, you're making all kinds of excuses for this.
Wait, are you saying
I
that?
haven't made a single excuse. I just said it's nuanced. The idea of marriage in general is nuanced.
So they're not married; they just live.
Like for example, if we're just taking this from a scriptural standpoint or a moral standpoint within our religion, that's what I'm saying is nuanced, right? So in the Old Testament, you have multiple wives. You have the idea of there's actually not really a ceremony or vows or anything. They would do stuff. They do like a dowry, and it would be more of like a payment.
Yeah, none of that happened.
None of what happened.
With John did not pay a
dowry.
John did not exchange a dowry.
No party.
Oh no,
no
I'm not
ceremony.
saying this to John. I'm like I said, this what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, no dowry and no payment, but like lots of fucking.
No goats were exchanged.
Yeah, that's no. I'm not referencing this in relation to John. I'm just saying from the question. I'm not sure who asked. I'm not looking at my phone right now. Whoever said when it's an atheist, it's
Find
a problem.
out that
When
they're
it's a Christian,
just
it's not.
Christians. They're just living together. Marry.
Yeah,
what would you do?
And fucking.
A lot. What would you do? What would you say to them? Like, welcome, or get your shit.
I mean, the first question I'd ask is just why not actually get married?
Oh, they can't be bothered.
They're scared of of commitment. That was his answer.
Yeah, that's
John's answer was that he never even thought of it.
Well, I mean, John, I love you to death, but I think that's dumb.
When pressed, he
like
said
said,
he did.
It
was a commitment issue.
Say what?
When pressed, he said it was a commitment issue.
And you've been with her for how long?
19 years.
I don't think you have commitment issues. I mean, they're just going out on a limb here, but I think being with the same person for 19 years in any capacity kind of shows that you don't have commitment issues. Like you said, you're not really legal under the law of the land. So I agree with the atheist forum on that side of things. If you're going under the law of the land, then yeah, that's problematic. You're not legally married in whatever state you're in especially if it does not have common law. If you're talking about it being a moral thing, like a spiritual thing between you and God, that's more nuanced. Like, my recommendation for people is that they get married, but if they don't, it's not. It's weird.
I mean, I don't get it. You're saying your recommendation is to they get married, and if they don't, it's like trailed off. Like, I mean, bro, I'm no pastor like you, but I think it's like my understanding. If like you're gonna be a fucking, then you ought to be married. Do you think differently?
So that's where I'm saying it's more nuanced.
Wow, dude, you're a fucking joke, man, dude. Seriously,
Appreciate it, man.
you're a pastor. You're a pastor,
Yeah.
right? You can't answer that question. That's a fucking joke, dude.
What's the answer?
You ought to be fucking married if you're gonna be a fucking, yeah.
According to what? So if we're attacking this from a pastoral perspective, according to what?
Christianity, Orthodox Christianity.
Where?
Like, I can't believe what I'm hearing right now.
Wait, I'm just asking questions. Where?
Well, like fornication is like defined as like being, like it's like, well, it includes fucking outside of marriage. Fornication is a sin. Fornication is, well, you can't be fornicating with your wife, right?
There's a couple. Like, I know you guys don't really care about this, but it's relevant to the conversation. The Greek words that are used there for sexual immorality, or the closest thing you can get to is the word for impurity. So like we look at purity versus impurity, but even that can be in relation to cultures having pagan ritualistic sex and stuff like that. Like,
but we're not talking about. We're just talking about a good missionary, good old missionary fucking. Can you if you're doing that? Are you fornicating with your wife? Are you fornicating with your wife?
That's not what the word fornication means. That's what I'm saying.
Doesn't matter. I asked, are you fornicating with your wife if you're giving your girlfriend just you're living a good old missionary fucking are you fornicating?
So it depends how you're using fornicating. Are you using it from a biblical perspective or like
under your view? Under your view.
Haven't I answered like 5 times that I think it's more nuanced?
Well, is it accounting for nuance? Is the answer yes or no?
I'm not sure. Like, it's not really something.
You're not sure. Okay, if you're giving your wife a missionary fucking, are you fornicating?
If you're having sex with your wife, so again, this goes back to marriage. I just don't know why you're making this so hard.
I'm not. You are.
No, I'm not. I've given multiple answers, man.
To this question? Okay, what's the answer to that question? If you're giving your wife a missionary fucking, are you fornicating? What's the answer to that question? We'll start there.
If you're defining fornicating by having sex outside of marriage, then yeah. But if you're asking having sex outside of marriage,
no, it would be no.
A sin.
The question was, when you're fucking your wife, missionary, are you fornicating? And then you just said, if you're defining fornication of outside of marriage, then
you're
yeah.
No, you're right. I misspoke. No, yeah, you're right. I misspoke.
Okay, so you reject this definition, though, right? And I thought I said by your definition.
If you define it as saying, okay, fornication is having sex outside of a legal bond of marriage, if that is how you're defining that, then my answer would be no, right?
Yeah, but you have some other definition, right? You have some other definition, right?
Are you? You're asking me from a biblical perspective, then yes, absolutely.
Okay, what's your definition of fornication?
Fornication's a lot of different things. There's Greek word porneia. Porneia having to do with fornication more so has to do with like sexual idolatry. It's not necessarily just sex out of marriage. There's a huge debate among scholars having to do with this subject.
All right, you're just telling me that a lot of different things can qualify as fornication, but they all have something in common,
but it doesn't.
right?
For having sex outside of marriage is not one of the. It is only one of the things.
Okay, what is the thing they all have in common?
I would say the thing they all have in common is just it's sexual in nature.
Sure, that can't be what fornication is, because two married people fucking is sexual in nature, and you said that they're not fornicating, so that can't be it.
Dude, why are you making this hard?
You are the one making it hard, dude.
I'm not.
Just tell me why two people fucking that are married is not fornication, and why two people fucking that aren't married is fornication. That's all you got to say. Bro, you're a reverend?
Yeah, this non-committal
You're a pastor.
stuff
You're a pastor, dude?
is so weird, this non-committal stuff about this issue.
You're a fucking pastor? You can't answer these fucking questions? Are you fucking kidding me? What a fucking joke.
I can answer. I'm just not interested.
You should fucking turn that U-Haul around and go straight fucking back, because the last thing you need to do is fucking be in a pastor position again if you can't answer this question.
I'm just not interested, man. You're one, you're getting aggravated, and I'm not interested to get into a fight right now. Two, I've given an answer multiple times that I think it's a nuanced topic, and that I think there's multiple definitions to fornication from a spiritual, from a pastoral perspective. This is why you didn't answer my question, because you have no idea what the heck you're talking about. You're trying to impose this idea of popular Christianity on sex having to do with sex outside of marriage or sex with inside of marriage. And I agree, it's definitely a majority position within the evangelical communities, the position that you're trying to press right now. My point is I am not within that circle that I'm holding to some majority view of the populace of Christianity. The idea is that the topic, and I will say it one final time, you will listen or you will not. The topic is nuanced, because first we have to ask about what is marriage. Is marriage qualified by vows in front of an altar in front of God? Is marriage? No, listen. Is marriage qualified in front of an altar? Is it based off of vows? Is it based off of having a reception, cutting a cake? What is marriage biblically? Can you answer me that? Because if we're talking about fornication and we're talking about this contrast between married and not married, what is marriage biblically?
It's whatever it's whatever the laws of that society say marriage is.
Yeah, so that is going to be a law of the land. That's going to be a legal issue. And I already agreed to the legal issue. I said, if we're talking legally, if we're talking about the law of the land, fornication is sex outside of marriage, because marriage is considered.
Biblically, marriage is what the law of the land says it is. So it's not just legally, it's actually biblically the case that John Lee ought to be legally married. Biblically, that's what it says. And I heard that from a Christian.
How do you know that's true?
Well, he quoted all sorts of stuff at me. I think from I'm
sure
confessions and stuff.
Like I've had this topic with pastors.
Look, the truth be are you genuine telling me when you're pastoring your teenagers, if they have sex and they tell you they're never going to have sex with anyone else, you're going to be like, cool beans, you're married now, biblically?
Cool beans, you're married now, biblically. No,
why not? They're just doing what John and his wife are doing at the start of their relationship, right? Maybe they'll be together for 20 years.
I haven't made a single claim that they are married, that they aren't married. I asked the question, what is marriage biblically? What constitutes it? You said it's based off the law.
Well, you said it's not You said it's not fornication, right? But then you also said that married people like fucking aren't fornicating. So yeah, you have made claims of that nature, and I think you're
specifically having to do with what? Finish the rest of my statement.
That was one of your statements. You might have made other statements. I don't know what you want to add on.
The statement that you're referring to, I said directly in reference to legality.
Yeah.
Did we lose him? I
It's
mean,
unbelievable, dude.
Is
If
he just
any
saying-
pastor, like let's say he were he gets there and like his all the other like pastors and the elders and the head of the church, they say, Triple B, welcome to our church. We just have one question before we officially sign you on. If two people are fucking outside of marriage, ought they get married? And Triple B is like, well, like legally, because it's like nuanced and like, dude, they would say, hey, thanks for making the trip. Go ahead and skedaddle and go home.
Well, did he actually give? But did he give his own definition of marriage if he's not saying legal?
I don't understand.
Did he have another
I
definition?
think he was using the Old Testament definition of becoming one flesh.
Yeah, but then that's worse.
Yeah,
that means
but
like
then
Tinder hookups are getting married like all day, multiple times a day.
well, here's
All
the
right.
deal too. Here's the deal too.
All right, I'm back.
They can't say that the consummation is the marriage, because then that's a contradiction. You could never fuck to be married because you can't fuck unless you're married. And the only thing that supposedly makes you married is the fucking. What are you supposed to do?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the argument is trying to be made that what actually makes a marriage is the sex. And then you tell a person sex outside the marriage is fornication. So
no, I'm saying that's only one side. I've said it's nuanced like 12 times. I've not made any direct claims saying this is marriage and this is exactly how it must be, and this is not marriage, and this is how it must be in relation to sex. I've not said anything.
So what is the criteria by which a person can no longer be a fornicator?
Oh my gosh. Is it okay? Let me ask the question. Is it okay to not have a strong stance on something that you're studying? Is that okay with y'all? I'm just curious.
I don't know. It just seems.
Bro, you're a pastor, dude. You're not supposed to be like, oh, I need to like do
I'm
more
not
study
supposed
on
to.
like whether or not this
You're
instance
right.
of fucking is fornicating.
You're right. I'm supposed to be a sheep. I'm not supposed to study the material in which I actually talk about, which I think is going to impact people's lives.
Do you have
right.
a general idea? Do you have like kind of like a loose idea of what it would mean for a person not to be a fornicator? No.
So again, in points of study, let me just tell you
What?
who I am.
What is happening right
man?
now?
You're literally a pastor on your way to take up a new pastoring position. And you don't know how John Lee could rectify, like, tomorrow his fornication problem? I got an idea. Fucking go get married.
I have no problem with marriage. I even said that. I said I think it would be a better thing for John to get married in terms of just legality. That was my answer regarding John.
Yeah, but we were. You were a pastor. We're asking you for spiritual instruction, not like legal stuff,
it's
right?
a point. And again, it's a point of study. If you were to ask me, hey, what's your stance on creation and evolution? You know what I'd say to you? I don't know. I'm
but this is,
and I don't really have a strong stance.
Yeah, but
if you were to ask me anything about eschatology, my exact answer would come out. So let me. Maybe this will help. I honestly don't know. Maybe this will help. So about a couple years ago, when I encountered David Smalley, you all know that whole thing, conversations, that put me into a crisis of faith where I realized I did not know why I believed what I believed. I didn't have a clue. And so I determined that I'm done, like the position I held about sex prior to that conversation disappeared after that first debate, because I said, I'm done being uninformed and I'm done believing things just because it's what I've been raised with or what I've been taught. And so all of these questions having to do with sex right now, it's a point of study for me, and I have no hard stances. That's not to say that I don't find something biblically and I don't study something that leads me to a conclusion to have a hard stance on it. But in a point of study, it is far more honest just to say, you know what? I don't know. It's really nuanced for me right now. Instead, you guys just want to fight with me and press me and get me to an answer that you think I should give, and I'm not going to.
Well, you've already basically given the answer, right?
No, I
This is
haven't.
what I don't get. You're saying that John, when he climbs on top of his wife and pounds her missionary, he's fornicating, right? You've also
From
said
a
that it's the same.
legal.
You've also
legal.
said that the same act, if married, is not fornicating. And so when we ask the question, Triple B, how can John solve his fornication problem? And you're like, I don't know. I have to study. No, you don't. You got the answer right there. You said it yourself. Get fucking married. You're a fucking pastor, for Christ's sake, man.
And,
You don't need to like hit the books to like figure this fucking out.
Did I or did I not reference legality in the statement you just
But
made?
we're not asking you in that context, right? You're not a lawyer.
That's the answer I gave.
We're
The
asking
answer
you
that
for
he's talking about.
spiritual instruction, which is
And
your
I've
job as a
answered
pastor.
12 times.
No, you didn't.
I don't have a
You
stance
said you don't know.
spiritually.
Oh dear. Look, maybe we should stop this because we don't want to like give him another crisis of faith before he even starts.
No,
his
you guys
job.
are just being dumb.
No, I don't, well, look,
You're
I
asking
think.
Oh, we're being dumb, dude.
Yes.
No,
Let me tell you, dude, if
Question.
your fucking new employer heard what you were fucking saying and you telling me we're being dumb, guess what? There's probably one person he thinks is being dumb in this fucking situation, right?
Yeah,
And
that's fine.
it's you.
That's fine.
Dude, I hope some young person doesn't come up to you and say, "Hey, I need your help, Triple B, Mr. Youth Pastor. My uncle's molesting me." And then you say, you know what?
You know what? That's
This
sick.
is nuanced.
That's sick, and you can shut up. I'm gonna say that once.
Well,
okay.
That one you know, right? Oh, that one you know?
Look,
That one didn't take further study.
alienate him. He's just come back. It's his first day. Come on. But I just
Bro,
want to know, what if it's a lesbian couple?
The uncle and the niece became one flesh, according to you, right?
We're done.
shit.
We're done.
Tom's
We're
dead.
done.
They became one flesh, according to you, right?
It's over.
Tom,
Welcome back. Welcome back, Triple B.
Tom.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if
It's
he was
nuanced.
Goosey Lucy just in general, like a Zellini or what have you, right? But you know he's gonna like condemn the gays, right? Just not the straight people living in sin, fornicating, doing whatever. That's just ugh.
Tom just kept bringing out a bigger bat and a bigger bat and a bigger bat.
I never
But
heard
bro,
it.
dude, he talks about you're married when you become one flesh, right? If an uncle plus niece or whatever become one flesh, well, then that's what he said means they're married.
Not fornicating.
It's like the chair all over again. He couldn't.
Don't give me this.
Right.
No, come on, bro. We're working with what you said. You might not like it, bro, but this is the consequences.
He's gone. But he said that fornication could mean lots of things, but probably that the main thing it means is not being married, right? Because you can't fornicate with your wife. Even if you're doing like really crazy shit, that's still not fornicating, right? Is that what he said? Like if you're
Basically,
doing, like,
yeah. Which means which is the
shibari with your wife, that's not fornicating.
shibar, yeah. Which just made me like, incensed when he was like, well, what should John do to stop like being a fornicator? And he's like, I don't know. It's I need to study more. What do you mean you need to study more? You got the answers right there.
Yeah.
I don't
Fornication is fucking outside marriage. John's not married and he's fornicating. How can he not be fornicating? I need to study more.
I wonder if is this because it's John? He's got weird friendship, loyalty.
Well,